Hello and welcome to this year's Secret Santa video, which I thought it would be appropriate to wear a Christmas jumper for. If you didn't see last year's video, basically what this is a bunch of booktubers, mostly from the World Hoppers group, get together to do a Secret Santa, and we get allocated a person and we read one of that person's favourite books and review it and post our videos all at the same time, which is what you're seeing now. So there will be a playlist linked down in the description bar. Maybe not straight away, I need to wait for it to go live and then I will add it. And also big thanks again to Andy, who organised the Secret Santa, and his channel will be linked in the description as well. But without any further ado, I can reveal that my Secret Santa recipient this year was Christy Lewis from the channel Dostoevsky in Space. And I wasn't really familiar with Christy's channel before this, which is one of the things I like about doing the Secret Santa, is you get to discover new channels. So last year I discovered Chris from Chris Bookish Cauldron's channel, and this year I've discovered Christy's channel. So I was familiar with Christy before, but I hadn't ever seen her channel. And the thing I really like about Christy's channel is that she has very, very different reading tastes to me, which did make this a little bit of a challenge, but she reads a lot of classic Russian literature, which you may be able to guess from the name of her channel, Dostoevsky in Space. She also likes sci-fi, as you might guess from that as well. And I had originally chosen a Russian classic to read for this. I'm not going to tell you what it was though, because I did end up DNFing it. It was a book from her top 20, I think, favourites from last year, and it was a short story as well. So I had left it until quite late to start that book, and then I DNF'd it pretty quickly. It just wasn't my style at all. So sorry about that, Christy. So I ended up taking to Christy's Goodreads to try and find something that I would have accessible to me, because basically it was, right now when you're watching this it's Monday, and right now when I'm filming it it's Monday, and I DNF'd that book on Friday morning, so I didn't have a lot of time to come up with an alternative, so I needed to pick something that I had access to really, really quickly. And what I ended up choosing was something that is 5 stars from Christy's Goodreads, and she read it quite a few years ago now, I think 2019 maybe, but it's actually one that had been on my TBR since about 2019 as well, so I felt like that was really appropriate. So I picked up The Demon King by Cinda Williams Chimer, which is the first book in the 7 Realms series. I don't know how many books are in this series actually, but this is the first one, and there is also a spin-off series to this also. And as I mentioned, this has been on my TBR for a little while. So it's the first book in a YA epic style fantasy series, so I don't want to tell you too much about the plot, but what I'll say is that, as you can tell from the name of the series, it's set in the 7 realms, and the realm that we are in is a queendom, and there are also magic users, and the magic users are banned from going to a specific area within this realm that is inhabited by the clans, and also our queens are the ones that kind of keep the peace, I suppose, between the magic users and the clans and everyone else. And in order to be able to do that, they're not allowed to marry anyone that is a magic user. So naturally, at the start of the story, some magic users enter this part of the land that they're not allowed to go to, and they use some magic there. And that's where we meet the first of our 2 main characters, Han. So Han is a young man who is caring for his family. They don't have a lot of money. He used to be in the gangs, but he's left that life now because his family weren't happy with him being a gang leader. and so he is trying to look after and feed his family without stealing and things like that. And he comes across these magic users, and through that he ends up coming into possession of a coveted artifact. Our other protagonist is Raisa, who is a princess. She is the queen's daughter, and Raisa really doesn't like the way that the lower parts of society are treated. She's quite keen to try and resolve that issue, but she's also sort of being manoeuvred into political marriage, as is so often the case with princesses in YA fantasy novels, and so she's kind of dealing with that situation as well. So that's the basic setup at the start of this story. A lot more than that goes on. Of course, there's lots of politics. I thought that the world building in particular in this one was really good. I liked our two main characters, Han and Raisa. I particularly liked when they were actually together. I'm not going to say too much about that because, again, I don't want to spoil you, but I really enjoyed that portion of the book, and I really enjoyed, as I mentioned, the world building and learning about the Seven Realms and the history of the Seven Realms. I think it's quite a tropey story. I mean, this was written in, or published I should say, in 2009, I think. Yeah, 2009. So it has a lot of the tropes from that period of time in YA publishing, but I don't fault it for that. I did kind of enjoy that familiarity. I thought the middle portion got a little bit on the slow side. This isn't an especially long book, about 500 pages, yeah. 506 pages to be precise. So not particularly long book. I think a little bit could have been shaved out of the middle, but generally I really enjoyed myself reading this. It was just a nice, fun, easy read, which I felt like I kind of needed actually. And I can see why this would be a favourite. I don't know actually if Christie has read the rest of the books. They certainly weren't in her 5-star section on Goodreads, which maybe isn't a good thing if she has read them. Christie, you'll have to let me know if you are watching this. But I really enjoyed myself. I liked the magic. You don't get to learn too much about it in this book. As I mentioned, this is a series, so I feel like probably there's a lot more about that in the rest of the series. Oh, there are 4 books. So the second book is The Exiled Queen, the third is The Grey Wolf Throne, and the fourth is The Crimson Crown. And then it looks like The Heir Chronicles. Heir as in H-E-I-R, not heir as in A-I-R, is the spin-off, maybe. So that has 5 books in it. So The Warrior Heir, The Wizard Heir, The Dragon Heir, The Enchanter Heir, and The Sorcerer Heir. So that sounds interesting, given what I've learned from reading this book. So I think that if you want something easy and comforting to read, and you want something that's going to have a lot of familiar tropes in it, with engaging characters and a really well-built world, then I think that you would really enjoy this one. I also felt, especially Han's portions, or Hans? I don't know. I should know because I listened to the audiobook, but whatever. From Han's portions, it felt quite Hunger Gamesy in terms of world, not in terms of plot at all, but you know, there's the whole forest thing and they're hunting and all that kind of thing. It just felt very Hunger Games-esque. So if you like the world of the Hunger Games, then you might like the vibe of the Hunger Games where Katniss is in the woods with Gale. If you like that whole thing, you might like those portions of this as well. That also felt quite comforting to me. But overall, I feel like this was actually a really good choice. I know it wasn't a super recent favourite of Christie's, but as I mentioned, I kind of needed something quick that was readily accessible to me. And as you can see, I have a copy. It's been on my physical TBR since 2019. So there you go. I enjoyed myself. I hope that this review has been helpful. Thank you to Christie for finally getting me around to reading this book. And of course, don't forget to check out Christy's channel down in the description bar. Happy holidays to anybody who does celebrate and anybody who doesn't. I hope that you are having a wonderful month. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks. Bye.